Good day, everyone. My name is Marina Soroka. I am the pupil of the 11th grade of Kozeleck's Lyceum number 1. I want to present to you my research paper, Means of Expressing Comic in Pelema Grenvіла Wudhausa's short stories, exemplified by the story Дживс and the Unbidden Guest. Sir Pelema Grenvіла Wudhausa, British humorist, whose body of works includes novels, short stories, plays, poems, song lyrics, and numerous pieces of journalism. Wudhausa wrote 96 works and earned praise as a master of parody and English prose. Oxford University awarded him a Ph.D. degree. In 1975, he became Knight Commander of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. The Bollinger Everyman Woodhouse Prize, given annually for the finest example of comic writing in the UK, was established and named in his honor in 2000. The goal of our work is to research how the linguistylistic means create comic effect in the short stories of Pelema Grenvіла Wudhausa, exemplified by the story Jeeves and the Unbidden Guest. Jeeves and the Unbidden Guest, a humorous story which is researched as an example of short story set. The main characters of the story are Bertram Wooster, an English gentleman, one of the idle rich, and a member of the Drones Club. Reginald Jeeves, Betty Wooster's valet. The comic effect in the story is realized on the stylistic and language levels. First of all, Pelema Grenvіла Wudhausa experiments with a subtle blending of language styles. Reginald Jeeves speaks in refined literatural language. Her ladyship did not confide in me, sir. Pardon me, sir, but not that tie. This tie is too ornate. Bertram Wooster's language is rude, colloquial, and full of slang words. I was in a pretty reduced sort of state. This is getting a bit sick. When I was researching the comic effect in the story, I drew pictures of this situation in which there was a comic effect. For example, all I could think of the picture of Aunt Agatha drinking all this in and reaching out to sharpen the hatchet against my return. On the language style, the comic effect in the story is realized by lexical stylistic devices. The portrait sketches of the characters cannot but cause a smile. Lady Malvern is a very vicious specimen, with bulging eyes, overpowering sort of dazed female, not very tall but making up for it by measuring about 6 feet from the OP to the prompt side. When she spoke, she showed about 57 front teeth. Lady Marvelin's son, Lord Wilmot Pressure, with such a noble title, is characterized by the author by uncomplimentary epithets. Maury was about 23, tall and thin and weak-looking. He wore hair plastered down and parted in the middle. His bulged eyes were dull gray with pink rims, and he didn't appear to have any eyelashes. A mild, furtive, sheepish sort of blighter, in short. Pelema Wudhausa is a master of creating and describing comic situations. Metaphors as well as personification help to make ordinary events exciting and comic. For example, it's always just when a chappie is feeling particularly top-hole and more than usually braced with things in general that fate sneaks up behind him with a bit of lead piping. I remember that when I had arrived in America about a year before, the proceedings had begun at some ghastly hour like this, and that I had been shot out onto a foreign shore considerably before 8. Authors always use metaphors with occasional meaning. In the meaning of prohibition, the author uses the verb to bar. I do bar dancing on the tables. I bar particular jokes before breakfast. I like America. I didn't want to have England barred to me for the rest of my naturals. Humor in the story of Mr. Woodhouse is combined with a delicate and refined English irony. For example, you ate something that disagreed with you last night. The use of hyperboles and similes in the description of the events and characters adds some more expressiveness and humor. The days down on Long Island have 48 hours in them. You can't get to sleep at night because of the bellowing of the cricket. Wooster liked a pair of closed-top boots like a couple of brothers. These frightful words trickled out of her like honey. She spoke as if she belonged to an anti-sausage society or a league of suppressions of egg. The speech of the main characters is full of phraseological units which describe the atmosphere of the events and the mood of the heroes. For example, be sure to keep your eyes open and take notes of your impressions. If you go doing this sort of thing, I'm apt to go into the soup. Nevertheless, Wooster is ironical and sarcastic, and at the first sight light-minded. It's impossible to hide Oxford education. He shows his knowledge of French, English literature, and Bible. For example, French words, barbarisms. The only time I met him late at night after that was once when I passed the door of a very low-down sort of restaurant and had to step aside to dodge him as he sailed through the air and rode for the opposite pavement. Conclusions. The comic effect in Wudhausa's stories is achieved through neat and subtle blend of language styles, emotionally colored stylistic devices such as metaphor, hyperbole, simile, epithet, oxymoron, misquotation and allusion employment, author's neologism and occasionalisms, occasional compressions, ironic synonyms, expressive and emotionally charged language.